All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a secret that's hiding in plain sight, or I guess in plain hearing. It's a fundamental compromise at the very heart of music, something that shapes basically every song you love, but you've probably never even thought about it. So get this. What if I told you that almost every song you've ever heard, from classical masterpieces to your favorite pop hit, is technically out of tune? And not by accident, it's completely on purpose. I know, it sounds nuts, right? But believe it or not, this one little tweak, this deliberate imperfection, is the key that unlocked pretty much all of modern music as we know it. All right, so to really get our heads around this, we first have to talk about the trap of pure sound. We need to go back and look at what you'd think is the perfect way to tune things, and find out why that so-called perfection was actually a dead end. You see, way back when, the goal was super simple: make music sound as clean and pure as humanly possible. And the way they did that was with a system called just intonation. The whole idea is based on notes having these really simple whole number mathematical relationships. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Our ears just, well, they love simple math. When two sound waves line up in a neat ratio, like 3 to 2, our brain hears it and goes, ah, that's it. That's perfect harmony. And when you build chords this way, oh man, the sound is just flawless. It's so pure and resonant. Everything just rings out perfectly, crystal clear. It's like this beautiful world of perfect mathematical harmony. In theory, of course. But yeah, as you probably guessed, there is a huge catch, a really big one. This beautiful, pure system has a massive, music-breaking flaw. A flaw so bad that it literally traps a musician and the music in one spot. So what is this big, fatal flaw? Well, it all boils down to this question. Why can't you just stack these perfect intervals? If they sound so good, why not just keep piling them on top of each other? Okay, let's actually try it. Imagine we start on a note, say, A flat. Now we're going to stack a pure major third on top of it. That lands us on a C. Sounds great, right? Let's do it again. From C, we stack another pure third, and we get to E. Still sounds perfect. But here's where it all goes wrong. We stack a third one to get to G sharp, and boom, we've hit a wall. That G sharp is supposed to be the same as our starting note, just an octave higher. But it's not. The math just doesn't add up. The note you land on is noticeably flat. The circle, as they say, doesn't close. And that is the trap. The consequence is that you are completely locked into one single musical key. Sure, an instrument tuned this way sounds absolutely glorious in, say, the key of C, but the second you try to change keys, to modulate to G or F or anywhere else, those perfect little ratios just fall apart. Everything suddenly sounds awful. It's jarring and dissonant. It's like having a key that's been perfectly crafted for one single lock, but it's totally useless for any other door in the house. So how did music break out of this prison? Well, it took a really clever, if slightly, well, impure solution. It's time to talk about a mathematical compromise. And here it is. This is the system that runs basically everything you listen to today. It's called 12-tone equal temperament. And the philosophy here is totally different. Instead of worrying about those pure, simple ratios, this system just takes an octave and chops it up into 12 perfectly equal little slices. 12 equal steps, or semitones. Each step is exactly the same size as the last. So this really highlights the two different ways of thinking, right? On one hand, you have just intonation, which is all about purity, but it gives up all its flexibility. On the other hand, you have equal temperament, which makes a very conscious trade-off. It says, okay, I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of that perfect purity, but in return, I get total freedom. The music sounds pretty darn good in every key because every interval is just a tiny, tiny bit off. So if just intonation is the perfect key for one lock, equal temperament is the master key that works on every single door. So how do you get those 12 perfectly equal steps? Well, you use this. This is kind of the magic number of music. It's the 12th root of 2. Yeah, it's a messy, irrational number, but it's the secret ingredient. It's so simple, really. You take a note's frequency, multiply it by this number, and poof, you get the next note up. And if you do that 12 times in a row, you land perfectly on the octave. The circle is finally closed. And here, you can actually see the compromise laid out. This is measured in something called cents, which are just teeny tiny units of pitch. Now look at the perfect fifth. In our modern system, it's only about 2 cents different from the pure version. I mean, you can barely even hear that. But now, look at the major third. Whoa, it's off by almost 14 cents. That is definitely noticeable. It's a little bit flatter than a pure ringing third. That's the compromise. That's the price of admission for all that flexibility.
Okay, but this is where the story gets really wild. This brilliant, elegant solution to music's biggest problem. It wasn't just discovered once. Nope. It's an incredible story of a parallel discovery.
Check this out. In 1584, a prince from the Ming dynasty in China, Zhu Ziyu, does the math and figures out the exact calculations for 12-tone equal temperament. Then, incredibly, just 1 year later, in 1585, a European mathematician named Simon Stevin comes up with the exact same solution, completely on his own. I mean, think about that. Two different people on opposite sides of the world, with no contact, solving the same massive problem at almost the exact same time. It's just amazing. So, what does this all mean for us? What was the real-world impact of this huge compromise? Well, it literally created the sound of modernity. Really, the big takeaway here is that by deciding to accept a system that was, perfectly imperfect, where every chord is just a little bit off, we unlocked a whole new musical universe. It opened up possibilities that musicians before could only dream of. And what was in that new universe? Well, for starters, the freedom to just glide smoothly between any key you want. It allowed for all the rich, complicated chords that give music so much emotion. Honestly, this one system is the bedrock for pretty much all of Western music. We're talking everything from Bach and Mozart to jazz to rock to pop music today. Think about it. Every single time you hear a song build tension with a dramatic key change, you are hearing the direct result of this 400-year-old compromise. So in the end, our entire world of music is built on a choice. A long time ago, we traded perfect, beautiful purity for incredible, boundless flexibility. And that has to leave you wondering, right? It leaves us with one last kind of haunting question. What amazing, perfectly resonant sounds have we lost? What are we missing out on because of the path we took?